Okay, well, guys, welcome to the second Beyond Philmont Leadership Challenge Zoom reunion group. I'm John Richardson. I'll be acting as your host for tonight's event. Today is the 13th of November, and I'm so excited to see you guys here. And I'm going to go ahead and get started with the PowerPoint presentation. Again, on your screen, give me a thumbs up if you guys can see what I can see. Are we good? Good. Okay, perfect. So again, welcome to the monthly Zoom meeting. The intent of this group is to bring all of us together who have graduated from the Philmont Leadership Challenge, give us a chance to learn a lot more about Philmont and also a lot more about each other. Our guest speakers are Julia and John Lesko, and I'm super excited to have them speak. Before we get started, there's a couple of things that we typically do. And of course, review the agenda, and then we'll go into our traditional kind of setup. So everybody's here, and we're glad that you guys are here. We're going to do our welcoming, our opening, set expectations, do a quick 2025 PLC update. And I believe Sherry's going to, if you don't mind, Sherry, covering just a quick update about how things are going at the time. And then Philmont Ambassador Program, Julia and John are going to cover that. We're going to go into the challenges for the month. And then you guys are going to break up into smaller groups where we're going to discuss some new and exciting things and what's going on in your world. Again, we're building community as a group. Though we're miles apart from each other, we're still close together by consistently connecting over on a monthly basis. And then at 8 o'clock, we're out of here. So we'll move on to the next step. So if you could mute your screen, hand over your heart, and actually, Ed, if you don't mind, you'll be the one speaking. If you could lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Now, everybody else, mute your screen. That'd be great.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Ed. And if you don't mind, Kathy, can you lead us in the Scout Oath and the Scout Law? And yes, Dora, I did add the word thrifty back into the Scout Law, unlike last month. So, Kathy, do you mind?
Oh, good. I'm glad. Okay, Scout sign. On my honor, I will do my best to do my duty to God and my country and to obey the Scout Law, to help other people at all times, to keep myself physically strong, mentally awake, and morally straight. The Scout Law. A Scout is trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent. 2.
Very good. And actually, next up is the Philmont Leadership Challenge. And if you don't mind, Scott O'Mary, do you mind unmuting yours and sharing that with us? That'd be great.
I knew you were going to do that, John. Okay, Philmont Leadership Challenge. I do hereby promise on my honor as a scout that I will be a servant leader, primus inter pares, first among equals, helping others grow and succeed for the good of all. As the sundial measures the passage of time, so will my service be measured over time by my impact on others.
Thank you, Scott. Okay, and just real quick expectations. Again, the purpose of this is for us to come together, support a safe, fun, and positive reunion experience. Be prepared to give a quick and succinct update on what's new. We'll do that at the end of today's session this month. Recognize and appreciate different communication styles. Live by the Scout Oath, Law, and the PLC Servant Leadership Principles, and help promote the 2025 Philmont Leadership Challenge in our respective councils. And so with that, I'm going to turn the floor over to Sherry, if you don't mind giving a quick update. And by the way, yes, I did add the date and the link from our last month's session. So Sherry, floor is yours.
Yes, and the only update I have is nail registration is open, and PLC registration will be shortly. It should have been already, so I don't know quite. We can ask Danny when he talks to us next month. Hopefully it'll be open before that. So registration, advertise, do your best.
Perfect. Thanks, Sherry. And yes, I did notice if you go to the link, you'll see there's a link that's just not been turned on quite just yet, but I'm guessing it'll be turned on soon enough. But feel free to send folks there. In the Middle Tennessee Council here in the Greater Nashville area, we've got 4 folks who are ready to go. And as soon as that link goes hot, then they're on board, which we're super excited about. So we're doing our part to try to replace the 4 folks who went this year with 4 for next year, and maybe a few extra. So
I wish every council would do that. That would be awesome. So thank you for promoting that. And if you want a flyer for PLC, Dora made us some wonderful ones. I'll send them to you, John, and you can share them.
And feel free, anybody, if you have any best practices about how to spread the good news about PLC, put it in the 2024 PLC Facebook group so that we can then disseminate and share that with everybody. So, Jerry, any final thoughts?
Just promote. Thank you.
Thank you. So, without further ado, I'm going to bring up our speakers. And again, we're going to have John and Julia go first because I'm super excited about what they're about to share with you guys today. So, I met, real quick introduction of the speakers. You guys are in for a treat. There are not many people, there's not many people like Julia and John Lesko on the planet, let alone within the scouting world. Julia, if you've done it in scouting, she's done it. I mean, and I got a chance to get to know more of her backstory by talking to John earlier today, but she's amazing. And so I can't wait to hear from her experience in scouting as she talks more about the Philmont Ambassador Program. John and I actually, when we did the whole merger of the different crews and we came together, that was my first time meeting John, and we've just kept in touch ever since. And I've really enjoyed getting to know him, like I said, as we prepare for today's session. But I'm going to turn the floor over to you guys, and the floor is yours to talk about how amazing the Philmont Ambassador Program is. And if you have a pen and paper handy and you want to take notes, and you guys are up for the challenge, and you say, hey, this sounds exciting, these guys are literally the cream of the crop when it comes to explaining this amazing program. So with that, Julie and John, the floor is yours.
Who knows that acronym that I've got above my head? Anybody knows what that acronym stands for? We do. It's I want to go back to Philmont. And I bet every single one of you wants to do that.
Philmont, it's home. Heaven on earth.
So now you know some of our acronyms. Next slide, please.
I'd be remiss not to define what it is that an ambassador does. So I'll let you read the slide. Back one, please. John was a graduate of the Evelyn Wood Spedredden course. Next slide. So we represent and promote Philmont. That's what ambassadors do. And Philmont's a special place. It's iconic. I mean, we've got Norman Rockwell using the tooth of time as a backdrop for the scouts having their mountaintop experience. It is a land of enchantment.
John, hold that thought real quickly. You remember we deleted earlier today the automatic deal? Well, it didn't keep. So give me a second. I'm going to otherwise every 5 seconds it's going to keep going. Go to the next slide. So
it'll be a challenge for us to do that, but
it'll be the shortest presentation we've had ever. All right.
How many of you are currently a Philmont ambassador?
1, 2, 3. Okay, that's
awesome.
That is awesome. That's at 1/4 of the people's faces that are on my screen.
And I am so excited about our new ambassadors. With the PLC faculty, I think we recruited nearly a dozen new ambassadors because they got the skills. They knew how to recruit. So we're looking forward to having them get up to speed on all things Philmont.
Hey, John, Julie, are you taking questions along the way, or you want us to hold them to the end?
You can ask while we're waiting for the slides to come up.
So back in the day, this still may be the case, you had to have done a track, or maybe you have to do a training course to be a Philmont ambassador, and you have to do it like every 3 or 4 years. Is that still the case?
Yes, they still have a list of things that to stay active as a Philmont ambassador, but that it's not hard for you guys to meet because you've all just been to Philmont Leadership Challenge.
And don't think of those as prerequisites. Think of those as the way of keeping current on Philmont. Much of this is done concurrently. You can go to a conference one year put in your application. And that conference could be something as simple as fly fishing, which is what I did. And then put in your application and then go back for training and then, get involved in another way. It's a cumulative. It's the spirit, esprit, the love of Philmont, and the willingness to promote. So in the upper right-hand corner of this slide, you see the welcome wagon, quite literally a covered wagon that sits at the very end of that tree-lined drive that goes into the PTC, the Philmont Training Center, and a marquee there that they put news on from time to time, or a welcome sign. Lower right-hand picture is the Villa Philmonte, the summer home, a cottage by comparison to Philbrook in Tulsa, but the summer home of Waite and Genevieve Phillips. Next slide, please. Well, you all know about Waite. You've attended PLC. You may have even heard Julia play on the player piano. Oh, there you go. Thank you, John. Keep up with that. And he had this to say about his donation. These properties were donated and dedicated to the Boy Scouts of America with a very lofty purpose, perpetuating faith, self-reliance, integrity, and freedom. Next slide. On that note, this is the roadmap ahead, and Julia's, because of her other meeting, is going to take us through the first two parts of that.
Yeah, I'm going to cover PTC conferences and the Family Adventure Camp, and then I'll leave the rest of the others for John to cover with you. But these are all opportunities to reach out as an ambassador to bring people to Philmont and just have them also fall in love with Philmont. Next slide, please. What's really exciting about next summer is that we are celebrating the 75th anniversary of the Philmont Training Center. So this is there's going to be a little bit of celebration in every single week. The main week of celebration will be the 4th of July week. Next slide. So these are just I'm not sure how many of you, what I was surprised to learn was that some of the folks who come to PLC have never been down to the training center itself and taken a conference. So have any of you taken a conference down in PTC? Or you've just all been up on the ridge? Well, there are so many opportunities for you to tell your unit leaders, your district leaders, your council leaders about. They can come and they can learn all about facilitating games, becoming a facilitator. They can come as a key 3 at the district or council level. They can come commissioner week. It's always a lot of fun week 1. But week 2 is ambassador week. So if you sign up to become an ambassador, you'll have an opportunity to take week 1. Week 2. Week 2, Ambassador 1 and 2 are being offered. Ambassador 1 will focus on the basics to get you up and running with your presentations, and what to focus and learning your elevator pitches and stories to help connect with families. Ambassador 2 will dive deeper into all the different individual opportunities. You may not even know that some of the opportunities exist, and they take great field trips. So in one of those pictures, you see my Philmont Ambassador class. We are pumping down the Metcalf station on the railroad tracks there. Okay, next slide, please. So already on the Philmont website is the conference schedule. Now, this is a very fluid schedule because Danny is continuously adding conferences on, and he'll keep doing that till the end of the year. So if you look, there's usually some sort of theme each week, and week 1 will focus on commissioners. Week 2, we have some advancement, but it really is ambassador week. And then week 3 is relationships week, and international moved their classes from week 2 to week 3 to be for international week. But if you just keep looking, you can see there's a religious week. There's just opportunities there. And as an ambassador, what you would do is you would take a look at all these conferences, and there's a description of each of them, and you have a network of people back home, and you can just think, I bet, Joan would just love this class, or, Richard would just love this class. And you just start to identify who might like each of these different classes coming up. And you start connecting with them and you keep repeating. And you know what? You can't repeat too much the invitation to come to Philmont. In sales, they say it takes 5 to 8 times before somebody even hears you. So that's what we need, ambassadors. And really, we have no limit to how many ambassadors are in a council. It's the Scout executive who says, hey, we have enough. But otherwise, send your applications in and make sure you CC John and I, because we'll put our stamp of approval if it's from somebody from PLC, and we'll ask Amanda to start processing it, and then she takes it back through your council for final approval. So, we really encourage all of you to do that. There's so much educational and fun to have at Philmont that you can encourage your leaders to come and attend. And in doing that, you are being a servant leader because you are helping others to grow and gain their skills and take that back to your home council. Let's see. Now, we don't want you to forget to tell people you can bring your whole family to a PTC conference. Your spouses can sign up and make their own schedule as a Silverado. You can bring kids and kin. They changed the title to Kids and Kin because they're finding so many grandparents are coming and bringing grandkids in. And the kids will all have their own age group activities at the same time while the scouter is in a conference. But you will get together at every single meal because those counselors need a break. So you are guaranteed to see your family for every meal, and most likely part, if not all of the day Wednesday, you'll have as a family adventure day together. Okay, next slide, please. And this is just emphasizing more how there's something different going on each week. Week 3 at the very bottom of the list is going to be the relationships week. They bringing in 5 conferences that all build relationships, and they will be working together. On the left-hand side are Scouting You week. That's week 6, our Scouting You week classes. John and I have been asked to teach again the Acquire Your Facilitators Advantage, and Dave Savoni, the National Wood Badge coordinator, will be coming in, and he'll have 2 half-week sessions. One is this course director conference for Wood Badge, and the other one is all about the history. So these are just a sampling of it. Next slide, please. And you don't just have to come to conferences. You can just come to the family adventure camp. So here we're just telling, all your meals are included. Who doesn't like that? And it's a great networking opportunity. And these are just some fun slides. And as you can see, the Ranger hitting the Change Lives.
That's the Ranger. That's me.
That's you. That is you. I didn't realize you put your picture in there. Okay. Yes, we are all going to Philmont to change lives. Okay, next slide, please. You can bring your neighbors. They do not have to be registered in scouting. That's what is the beauty of this BSA Family Adventure Camp. You sign up your schedule, and even though you're a little separate from you do your own adventures, you have a lot to select from, and you can be, grandparents or grandchildren, but it could be half a week, it can be a full week. It's your vacation, your family vacation. So that is something to always point out to when you're trying to encourage, as ambassadors, people to come to Philmont. But I think I need to run off.
Yeah, we're going to lose Julia here in like 2 minutes. I can fill in any holes. Matter of fact, this is not a bad place to ask for any questions specifically on the Philmont Training Center or the Family Adventure Camp. John, if you back up a slide, I know there's a picture right there of the 2 types of tents that are available at the PTC. The top slide there is the 2-bunk tent, which we all recognize not only from Rayada Ridge. Oh, by the way, The tents are larger down at PTC. And they also have a foot locker in them that allows for you to secure your, not foot locker, a locker, like a sports locker, allows for you to secure your gear. The cots are great and, flow through ventilation, as you know. The tent on the bottom is actually, there is a dozen, I'll call them safari tent.
Deluxe
tent. Yeah, it's as if you're going glamping. In that tent is a queen size bed, typically reserved for the parents if it's a family adventure. And on the back side of the tent is a separate room with 2 sets of bunk beds. So there's 4 additional beds in each of these glamping tents. These deluxe tent sleep 6. There's a fan, a ceiling fan over the queen size bed, and yes, there's electricity in all the tents. Even the tents on the terrace tents
have electricity.
So you've got electricity across the board. The bathhouses are across the alleyway or across the street, so to speak, within easy walking distance to either of these tentage facilities. And the all private baths are in the tent cities, both the East Tent City and is it north or west? There's 2 tent cities, south and east tent cities. So with that, we're going to let Julia go, and I'm going to continue through the brief, if you please.
Okay. Bye, everybody. And if this appeals to you, send in your Philmont Ambassador application. We'd love to have you. Thank you.
Now, this premium experiences slide has everything to do with, for a little extra charge, you get an opportunity to do things while you're at the conference, actually. Wednesday, a part of Wednesday is usually free for people to reunite with families. As the adults or scouters are going through training, their children, whether they be scouts or even non-scouts, are participating in age-appropriate group activities. And for an extra charge, there's opportunity to climb a tooth of time. There's an opportunity for folks to join the Genevieve Villa Tea. It's a high tea served at the Villa, usually on Thursday or Friday. It is varied in different weeks. And horseback riding, to which I must give everyone due alert. You have to be under 200 pounds of when you check in with your medical to ride horses at Philmont. So those for a little additional charge are considered premium experiences offered up to any families that go to either a conference or to the family camping adventure. Next slide, please. Well, why did we start with the conferences and then talk about all these other things that no one's ever heard about? And that's the reason why we started with conferences and all these other opportunities at Philmont. Rarely do people hear about Order of the Arrow Trail Crew or the Rocks program or being a ranch hand or even the Rayado, I'll just call that the super adventure, and or the STEM treks. Now, there's no STEM treks scheduled yet this year, but that has been offered from time to time. Let me go upper left. This is the roadmap for some of the other individual opportunities. Notice that there's a footnote next to individual. We find that there are many individual single scouts out there that want to go to Philmont, but they want to bring their friend. And some scouts do bring a buddy. The buddy system works. You don't need 8 or 10 or 12 scouts in order to have a trek experience at Philmont. You could be a singleton, so to speak, or a dual, duality, or even a triple, and have an experience at Philmont. Now, what happens is they build composite crews. Now, the OA, typically, you'll have lodges and chapters that come out for the trail crew. That's 7 days working on the trail, and then 7 days of a hike, a trek that you've put together. And, oh, by the way, that particular opportunity is greatly reduced cost because of the service work that they're doing. So the cheerful service of the OA is rewarded by having a discounted trek cost. Rocks is the roving outdoor conservation school. And there they're talking about conservation science, environmental science. That is a 21 days at Philmont and in the backcountry. Again, reduced costs because of the conservation work that's being provided and the service that's being provided by scouts and advisors there. The ranch hands, 8 days working with your horse, taking care of the horse, 8 days on a cavalcade. Again, reduced costs. They're a little longer treks, but because of the work you're doing with the animals in that case, well, frankly, I one day longed to perhaps go on a cavalcade, largely because, think about it, there's no carrying of rucksacks. What doesn't get on the back of your pack animal is usually put in a vehicle that is trailing the cavalcade from campsite to campsite. Rayado Special, some call this the Ranger School of Philmont, meaning that gung-ho, ready to go young men and young women who aspire, ages 15 to 21, to go to the back country will go for extended trekking times at greater distances called the Rayado program. That trek many times is it's led with rangers, but they're not told where they're going. They just pick up and they respond to the next mission. And they are really put through their paces. Many of the folks who aspire to become rangers at the Philmont campsites and run treks will go through the Rayado program as a precursor to becoming rangers the following year in a seasonal employment capacity. STEM tracks, scientific engineering, science, technology, engineering, and math is exactly that. The opportunity of applying those types of skills. The green box has everything to do with money. Green. The green box, there's scholarships. You need to check in with your council. You need to perhaps find local donors. But I can tell you assuredly that the Philmont Staff Association and other scholarship money sources has never given away all the money that's been available. Just about anyone who asks for a scholarship receives it. I want to say 99% of those people who ask have received a scholarship, not necessarily a full scholarship, but anyone who asks and applies, you must apply, has been granted a scholarship. And if the rest of the truth be told, there are scholarships for scouters too. So don't let a few $100s get in the way of not having a Philmont experience. There's money out there so that scouts and scouters can get to Philmont. Next slide, please. Well, we've all experienced, if you're on this call, the Philmont Leadership Challenge. And that's one of the advanced leadership training opportunities. And of course, we've heard along the way all about the NAIL experience. So in addition to returning to, if you're so lucky as to be asked to staff those programs, we would like for you as a Philmont ambassador to be talking up these programs. You're recruiting and spreading the word of what's after, life after Wood Badge and what's beyond the NYLT experience. Next slide. There are autumn adventures. I'll let you read the bullet points there. Very flexible, planning your own route. There is a Philmont guide that goes along with you for both individuals and family groups. Typically, it becomes a composite trek or a composite crew. And they're organized and flexible enough to, okay, we can only get away for a weekend. So on a per day, per person basis, some fee is arranged. We can get there for a week. We get there for 2 weeks. These autumn adventures can be planned. Next slide. There are winter adventures, and I'm sure with 48 inches of snow out there, maybe not a lot of people are jumping at the New York winter opportunities, but they're there. Practicing skiing, ski Tahoe, no, ski Philmont, and search and rescue activities. All the winter gear is provided by Philmont, by the way. You don't have to go out and buy winter gear. That is available on loan at Philmont. Next slide. These next two slides, actually, if you know of folks who have a little deeper pocket, a little bigger donors, these have to be applied for through the council and to enter the lottery. But there's hunting experience for our woodsmen and our adventurers looking to manage the wildlife that is on Philmont. None of these animals, they're all protected, of course, throughout the year, but we want to manage the herds. We want to manage the turkeys. We want to manage so that there's a nice ecological balance and things are taken care of there. And last slide, I think, is the fishermen's. Yes, again, another invitational in September. There is fishing on the rivers and streams and lakes out there in Philmont. Those fish actually were caught by me outside of Philmont property, one each rainbow and one each brown trout. I can attest that there are fish in New Mexico. I've yet to go to the invitational, but look forward to it one day. And another slide there, John. Summer opportunities. Let's talk specifically about employment. Now, we talk about our scouts aging out, but they don't need to age out to the point where they don't have an opportunity to return to Philmont. I want to go back to Philmont. And the staffs at all the camps are typically applied for. Now, I can tell you from knowledge and talking with Danny and others that I think 50% of the staff came from outside of the scouting world and outside the scouting community. And these are people who applied for jobs at Philmont. But the other 50% have had scouting experience, and they range from being a ranger to being at a particular camp and putting on the programs, whether they be chuck wagon meals or whether they be blacksmithing or back in the past the dinosaur and the Indian writings. Each of these camps, Ponil has both Cavalcade and the original Phil Turn camp to maintain. Medical staff is called upon, in addition to those working at the infirmary. Food service, PTC conference goers eat at the dining hall, dining facility, and all that fresh food is prepared for by the cooks at the food service. And of course, they run kitchens on both sides of the road, both at the camping headquarters side, the Trek side of the road, as well as PTC. There are jobs available for people in food service. The living history, there are the costumes and the histories that's offered. Retail operation, who hasn't given some of their money to the Tooth of Time traders? Maintaining of the vehicles, maintaining of the grounds, policing up the sprinkler system. You name it, there are jobs to be had in that, what do they call that? When you take a year off between high school and college, there are jobs to be had for those that are interested.
A gap year?
A gap year, yeah, gap year experiences. I can't tell you the number of people who are taking gap year experiences at Philmont. It's a scouter paradise. Why not get your head straight and talk up employment opportunities at Philmont throughout the summer and into the fall? Well, they have a wellness program out there, plenty of free time in the backcountry, other recreational activities available. There's actually a couple of hidden gyms for the staff. And with that, I'll ask for the next slide. Oh, now we'll talk about things that you probably already heard about, all about the treks. I put it last only because it is so popular and it is common knowledge. Yes, they do treks at Philmont. I know a lot of people thought it was just conferences and employment and working in the dining halls, but nope, there are treks. There are literally hundreds and hundreds, dare I say, thousands of people who go on treks. Here's a picture of a co-ed trek, meeting all the requirements, 2 female advisors. You've got 4 female trekkers and 4 male trekkers, and the adults are all there. 3 of them had met, minimum of 3 of them have met the wilderness first aid training, and they've met the coeducational requirement. And of course, it's youth led. So this opportunity where the majority of the people you see in this particular expedition were youth. Next slide. Treks come in many flavors and varieties. You can read about them online. The mountain backpacking, anywhere on the low end of 50 miles to over 85 miles for some of those longer treks. Those 21-day Ranger and Rialto opportunities. A variety of camping experiences, fantastic scenery. You can see the 7, the 9, the 12-day. Those are the standard length treks. Many activities along the way. And those that complete the experience get the fancy arrowhead patch, pocket patch. Next, please. Cavalcades. If you don't want to carry all your gear, why not have your faithful horse help you out? 8 days long. The first few days are maintaining the animals, getting used to dealing with animals. You don't need to have a riding experience to go on a cavalcade, although it doesn't hurt. 10 to 15 people in any one cavalcade, or shall we call them a crew or a trek. There is that 200-pound weight limit. You cannot be over 200 pounds. That is taken care of during your ABC medical form and your medical in-processing. The drawing for the cavalcades is held in January, so if you're interested, please hustle up. Next slide. Camping programs. Well, I have in my own home council a high adventure committee, and many people talk about going to the Cascades or going to this state park or that national park, and they're great opportunities for our scouts and scouters to get into the backcountry of some properties that are not under Boy Scout jurisdiction or oversight. But one of the advantages of the Philmont and Sea Base and Northern Tier, for that matter, is the fact that you've got an infrastructure that the Scouting America has put in place that is not available at the other high adventure opportunities, at least not to the same extent. Philmont likes to boast that they can get a vehicle, a Suburban, to just about anybody in the backcountry in less than 45 minutes. So medical evacuation, medical rescues occur promptly, and they've got a fully formed and staffed infirmary there. Not every backcountry experience has blacksmith shops. Not every backcountry experience has black powder opportunities. And they surely don't have the Rocky Mountains all over across the country, not in Northern Tier nor in Sea Base. So Philmont can boast of these backcountry programs as well as having safe infrastructure in place so that we can have these adventures and bring people back from their adventure with all appropriate guides to safety followed within the scouting program. Next slide. Council contingencies. Well, can draw from a single unit, can combine individuals, can combine units. And that's fine, John. That's a standard. Most of the treks that go are council contingency treks. I'm sure you have experiences in your council there. I want to make a comment about meals. This is a tongue-in-cheek picture, an old picture. I guarantee you that not a single meal will be from 2008 that you'll find in the future. Meals are in the buddy system. We all have experienced these at the PLC. You know, they're packaged 2 at a time, you and your buddy, all the calories you should need. And swap boxes at all the staff camps. People don't necessarily come back from Philmont having lost a lot of weight. Many people actually gain weight while at Philmont. Next slide. So I want to get back to Philmont. It's home, heaven on earth. And if you're departing the grounds and you look over your left shoulder or in your rearview mirror, you may find the arrowhead up on the mountain as you're headed towards Cimarron. And the legend goes that if you see that arrowhead as you're leaving Philmont, you're almost guaranteed to return. Hopefully now you know to look for that arrowhead and to make the promise to yourself to get back to Philmont. Next slide. Primus inter pares. Who among you today in this group is ready to become a Philmont ambassador? Who's ready to assist, to lead, to serve others on their journey to become better trained scouters by signing up for a conference at the PTC, the Philmont Training Center? The Philmont Training Center is the de facto national training center. Every scout deserves a trained leader. Why not train at the National Training Center? Next slide. So you have a choice. This is my challenge to you. No pressure, mind you, because you'll see in a moment why there's no pressure. Apply to become a Philmont ambassador. There's the link. I know these slides will be shared. John's done that before, and he has recordings of these sessions, so you can go back and look at it. Apply your efforts towards earning the PTC Master Track Training Knot. Okay, maybe you're not wanting to be an ambassador, but you call yourself a trainer of scouts and scouters. Why not earn the PTC Master Track Square Knot? The application is at the blue link. Okay, and here's where the pressure comes off a little bit. Just apply your time and talent elsewhere. Be kind. Today's World Kindness Day, and throughout the year, continue to be kind. With that, who's going to accept the challenge A, B, or C? I hope we've got A, B, and C covered with everyone here today. Next slide. You can email Julia. There's her email, and she'll answer any questions you have about the Ambassador Program or Philmont Training Center for that matter. Or you can give me a call. You can email me too, and I'll share that email in the chat room ASAP. But I respond to phone calls too. Julia is just so busy. She keeps track with the audit trail with her emails. She's got tens of thousands of emails and a very sophisticated system to get back to everybody that sends her an email. Do you have any questions? I'm here to field any questions you might have. And if I don't know the answer, I'll look it up and get back to you.
John, I have one, maybe two. So if you have, for example, crews in my council that have already signed up to go to Philmont, but they don't know anything about it or anything like that, does the ambassador have a role with that crew, or they're mostly about recruiting?
We're mostly about marketing and lining up people to get connected with the right department at the camp headquarters. And usually within each council, there's a high adventure committee who will set up the training hikes within your council and will help coach your crews through their preparation. There's a series of webinars and there's a series of Zoom meetings that the advisors are encouraged to participate in. I believe there's a couple of them that are also available for the senior patrol leaders. But our job is to get the ball started, to facilitate linking you up and your crew, your advisors up with the appropriate people, both within the council and also with the people back at Philmont.
Got it. And second question, if I come to a conference and I bring my wife along, but she's not in can she do the family adventure by herself? Is there something for her?
Great question. Yeah. Julia in passing talked about Silverados. A Silverado is the spouse or the significant other that accompanies you. My first trip to Philmont, I was a Silverado. My wife was teaching in the Commissioner Week. I went along, signed up as a Silverado. I threw tomahawks. I shot bow and arrow. I tried skeet shooting. What else did I do? I went on 3 hikes and went fly fishing. So as a Silverado, you pick and choose the activities that are available there at Philmont, and you have fun. I met Julia, not at every meal, because some of the hikes took me into the backcountry and allowed for me to sample the trail bills. But we met, over breakfast and over dinner. What'd you do tonight, dear? Well, I went fly fishing, and what did you do? Well, I taught commissioners about recruiting. And so, yes, one of the coolest things about going to a conference is there's something to do for the other half. Following year, while we were both docents at the National Museum there with Harold White, we had a couple days off, couple evenings off, and we worked in the craft center. We have two souvenirs that we made up from the craft center, a plate, just for the sake of those that are at all interested. We drive an Airstream trailer across the country. So I had a silhouette of that very same chuck wagon that you saw at the entrance and the Airstream trailer. And with tracing paper, I inked out or blacked out those two images on a plate, then painted the plate and then varnished the plate, and couldn't dry kiln it because I used the wrong paints. But I learned from that experience, and the following year ended up decorating a bowl and dry kilning a bowl that is decorated with just various elements and icons from Philmont. So a craftsy person, which Julia is, and I help. Leather belts, leather work, woodwork, glass fusion. The craft center is really pretty cool. Fly fishing, throwing, shooting sports. Oh, excuse me, target and range activities. All those are available for the spouses in the Silverado program.
John, again, thank you so much. And Julia earlier for sharing with us your passion for Philmont. Let's give these guys a round of applause again for sharing their heart with us. I appreciate that. So again, just a quick recap. These are John and Julia Lesko's monthly challenges for you guys. Again, just like when you schedule a SMART goal, you got to have it has to be time bound, right? So by December 1st, challenge number 1, become a Philmont ambassador. You got to fill out the paperwork, send it to John and Julia, and then you talk to your scout executive and your respective council, and you go from there. Challenge number 2, earn the PTC Masters Track Square 9. Again, sign up at the Philmont Training Center for that experience. Challenge number 3, share it with at least one other scouter what Philmont stories that you've had when you went to Philmont. So it's kind of like a precursor what it's like to be an ambassador. Just share a few of your own personal Philmont stories. We've got Thanksgiving around the corner. Perhaps maybe you're at the table and you're talking about things you're grateful for and thankful for. Perhaps maybe you mentioned about your time at Philmont and what it was like, and kind of whet people's appetite. Perhaps they'll want to come back out and go to Philmont with you. Challenge number 4, connect with your buddy. And if you remember last month, Harold White mentioned that we should all have mentors in our lives. So if you have a mentor, or you're a mentor to somebody else, connect with them. And that ties into pages 50 and 51 in your PLC guide. And then challenge number 5 is be prepared to share next month. We're about to break up into small groups in a second, but be prepared to share next month, which is on December 11th, that Wednesday, when our guest speaker will be Danny Tucker, who is actually with the Philmont Training Center. And he'll be talking about all the great things that are happening for the 75th anniversary. So I'm going to stop sharing for a second. Everybody's going to hop into small groups. It's 7:49, so we're going to take about quick 8 minutes. And the cool thing about this is it's going to randomly assign you guys into groups. So who knows what breakout room you'll be in, but there's 2 rooms. Again, your goal is just to give a quick update as to what's going on in your world in scouting, what's happening. Try to keep your comments short and to the point because we only have about 8 minutes to get her done. So with that, I'll see you guys in a second.
Yes. I stay muted. Sorry.
All right, so I'm going to join you guys for a bit, and then I'm going to join room number 2. But while I'm here, again, the purpose of this is just everybody just gives a quick update as to what's going on in your world of scouting. Andrew, let's start with you. What's new and exciting in your world, and how are you applying the Philmont Leadership Challenge principles in your daily life since the last time we got together?
So as a district commissioner, we have 2 new Cub Scout units, so I've been very active there. Still fairly hands-on, but my goal is to apply servant leadership and train up the incoming or the soon-to-be formed committee there. So that's my scouting volunteer role. Big news was I'm fortunate enough to get asked to come back to staff PLC next year, so I'm very excited about that. And I'm also a course director for Wood Badge, so we'll have our first staff development in December, and the train's going to run right through April and May this spring. So that's me in a nutshell.
So the dad joke king, the joke is the joke king lives, right?
The question, it's always a question of what comes back and what doesn't. And sometimes things are just like Cookie Monster was one season. There's Cookie Monster preceded the dad joke king. We did shower thoughts with Cookie Monster. So we'll see what happens. You know, you gotta stay, keep it fresh and new, right?
Yeah. Well, I really enjoyed it. That was great.
Thank
All
you.
right, buddy. Curtis and I, we're buddies. We were buddies at the PLC, but we also kept in touch because I did the homework and I checked in with him like, yeah, how's life treating you? And he did the same too. He texted me from time to time saying, hey, what's new? So Curtis, let's go with you. What's new and exciting, and how are you applying your PLC principles?
Really just trying to promote PLC 25. I've been at both round tables and talked to some people that's just got through Wood Badge. I think it's a great way to build off of if you just got through Wood Badge. And yeah, it's mentor. I actually meeting with my mentor on Friday, and just waiting for maybe some phone calls to do some staffing. We got Wood Badge coming up next fall, and you know, don't know what's going out there at Philmont, you know, if Neil or somebody calls me, so we'll see. And yeah, that's me in a nutshell right now.
That's wonderful. And the season's over and the rain wasn't good to you this year, but perhaps maybe it'll be better next year, right?
Yeah, I mean, we were blessed. I mean, really, I grew the best crop I've ever grown. So yeah, I can't. Prices suck, but it is what it is. But yeah, God was good to me. So I'm blessed. I mean, blessed to be part of this 24 group. Just so you know, Matt, the person that couldn't come, he is coming to 25. Okay, so I've been sort of mentoring him, we've met a couple times, just getting him prepped. Yeah, he's stoked, and there will be me and Matt. So there'll be, just so you know, there'll be a couple minions running around the course next year.
I love it. So Sherry, this year, Curtis had a little minion toy stuffed animal that was his buddy Matt. Matt couldn't make it, and so the minion represented him. So he was a honorary member of the Cimarroncito crew. And so whenever we did experiences, we had this little stuffed animal, and we positioned him on the different apparatuses during the team building activities, and so we try to include him in all the skits and everything, and because it was just as if he were there. So it was kind of an honor to honor Curtis, but also honor his friend Matt. So it was a lot of fun.
Well, it'll be good to have him attending this coming year.
Yeah, he's excited.
Good.
How about you, Scott? What's new and exciting in your world?
A lot of stuff. Went camping with some Arrow Light Scouts last weekend, so that was an interesting. Got them all earned up on their outdoorsman adventure, so that was kind of cool. Tomorrow we have our round table, and I'm hoping it's cool enough that I can wear my PLC vest, and maybe that will spur some conversations with some of my fellow scouters. Wish me luck there. I've reached out to our local next Wood Badge course to see if I could come join them and talk for 15 minutes, but I haven't heard back from them. I may have to ping them again, rattle their cage a little bit. What else I got? I'm teaching a course at our scouting university in January, and my course I'm teaching are all high adventure bases. So of course I'm going to do a plug for the training center while I'm there. And I have 3 scouts signed up for NYLT over winter break. So score. I'm all excited about that. So a lot of stuff going on.
Awesome.
Have you ever had other scouts from your troop go through NYLT, or is this a first
Oh,
for you guys?
oh yeah. But usually it's like one or two a session, but to have three at one time is awesome. I'm really excited about that. And
So
I'm still trying to get a scout to nail it this summer. I think it's more of a logistics, transportation issue more than anything. He really wants to go. So
very cool.
So Sherry, I might send one your way.
Good, thanks.
Have you ever had anyone go through nail from your
I
troop
have
yet? No.
Anybody else here had a scout go through nail? Oh, other than Sherry?
My son went through it.
Okay.
Yeah, not in my unit, but my friend's son did
Yep.
go to nail.
Oh, also I've heard district commissioner is wanting to do PLC, but I think he's not interested in PLC. He wants to go to the summit version of it. I said, well, that's second best. You can do that. So
That's okay. They need a lot of people to
Yep.
get that program up and running. So that's a good thing.
yeah, absolutely.
And Sherry, last but not least, you're the most experienced person in the group, so I was like, I'll let you go last. So what's new and exciting in your world, and how are you applying the Philmont Leadership Challenge principles in your life?
Let's see. I apply them every day by recruiting faculty to go to nail. Kathy McCarty's recruiting her faculty, but I do the nail adults, or what we call the support faculty for nail. And I'm in the middle of it right now. I'm almost done. So my goal is to be done before Christmas. Yay. So keep your fingers crossed for me.
Exciting. And I'm sure, much like Wood Badge staff, there's a lot of sessions leading up to those training sessions as well, correct?
That is true. It's a lot of Zoom meetings beforehand. They do a lot of breakouts where adults will attend with the youth, practicing, because the youth are doing the presentations like you had at PLC. All those presentations are done by the youth, or what we call the program faculty, because some of them are over 18. But they do a lot of practice sessions beforehand, so that when they get to Philmont and that week of development, they just run through the course and they do everything and to get ready for the next week, which is with participants. So it's pretty active. It's like once a month they have a Zoom of some kind, depending on what their role is.
Cool. And NAIL has 5 courses, 6?
6. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. We held our draft for the youth. We did that last month, and we include the summit folks. So there's 2 NAIL courses at the summit and 6 at Philmont. And that's always a lot of fun. It's, for me anyway, because I'm not panicking about who's picking my youth or my SCL. So it's fun to watch.
So Sherry, you're recruiting adults for both Philmont and the summit?
I do not do the summit.
Okay.
There's another gentleman, Jay Herbrand, who was a Philmont NAIL course director, but he's working at the summit now.
I'm sure you're talking with one another though.
Oh yes, I was trying to talk him into letting me have one of his adults. I have 36 adults to recruit, and he has 12. So, so that's a lot of adults, and they can't always take the vacation time that, they'd rather go to summer camp with their kids. What's with that?
Is Summit going to run a NAIL and leadership challenge concurrently again? Because that was a great idea.
They're going to do that again. They're dealing with the Leadership Academy too. It's kind of in the middle, so I'm not quite sure how all the logistics work there. So we have a good support system at Philmont, and every day I'm very thankful for Danny Tucker and the support we have at Philmont.
John, you're on mute, I believe.
Let me do that again. So sorry about that. I just sent a message to the groups. Did you guys see an alert that popped up says we're about to wrap things up in 60 seconds? Okay,
Yep.
so that was just kind of a little nudge to let everybody in the other room know that we're at time. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and close out our room, and I will see you guys in the main room. We're going to do a quick little wrap up, and then we're out. So see you guys in a second. All right, and let me check the other breakout room. And they should be joining us momentarily. Let me check on that. Oh, there we go. It says all breakout rooms close in 30 seconds. So I pushed us out the door. We're actually giving them their full minute. So Zoom technology is great. They should be joining
John, I
us.
appreciate you setting this all up for us. These are awesome.
Sure.
I
Well,
feel inspired every time I come to one of these.
Good. Well,
Yeah.
that's the hope. And
Yeah.
this is once you know what you're doing with Zoom technology, you can do these with your units. You could do it in your districts. You could do it in your councils. With this, technology is pretty cool. So, all right, guys, welcome back. We had a great conversation in the other room. I take it you guys had a great conversation too, Kathy. Yes.
We did.
Very cool. All right, so I'm going to share as we wrap up our time together today. And again, we're a few minutes over. I do apologize for running over just a minute over. But just a quick reminder that next month we will be meeting back here for our next edition of the Philmont Beyond PLC. It'll be on Wednesday, December 11th, and Danny Tucker will be our guest speaker. He's going to talk about all things Philmont Training Center. So as you can tell from our conversation with John and Julia Lesko, there's a lot going on at Philmont. And so I can't wait to hear about more of what John and Julia talked about, but from the man, Danny Tucker. And I am in the process of reaching out to the other Philmont people, the Philmont Alumni Association folks, as well as anybody and everyone who's connected to Philmont, because I want to make sure we fill our time together with high quality content and also gives a chance to kind of connect together. So if you're looking around this room and you know there's somebody that should be here, but they're not here, feel free to pick up the phone, give them a quick text or a call saying, hey, I missed seeing your face. Come join us next month as we get together. So with that, thank you so much for joining us, and I will catch you guys next month for our next.
Hey, John, can you? I know we record this, but can you capture the chat and distribute that to the attendees as well? Because I just, for instance, put some contact information there, and I know other people might share information in the chat as well as the recording.
Yes, I see that. So I've got in the chat I have here, and this is being recorded verbally. So your email address, which is johnlesko57@gmail.com, phone number, area code 571-229-3246. And yeah, the big question, half question was, how can I help? So this is so good. The other folks had to jump coming in and out. And so that was the notes they have in there. So is that good, John?
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Sure. All right, guys. Have a wonderful month. Enjoy your Thanksgiving with your family. We'll see you guys in December on the 11th. And again, let's see if we can double the number of folks who are here next month. I know December's busy, but let's see if we can get just a few more folks here to make this experience even more fun. Sound good?
Hey, sounds good.
Yes.
Hey, John, did you send this out in the email at all, or was it just a Facebook posting?
Just the Facebook this time. You're right. I will send out the email. You're right. Good call. I'll do a better job promoting it. Yes. Good call. All right, guys. Take care.
Bye, guys.
Bye, everybody.